Welcome back to part 2 on financial planning with Mike Coady from deVere Financial Consultancy Group. So welcome back, Mike.
Hi.
So why should people choose a financial advisor and not go down the whole DIY route?
I think over the years, I've seen too many people go down the DIY route in too much intensity. I think there are different types of do-it-yourself type investments. So for example, we have lots of clients that invest in share portfolios, or I'll use an expression, dabble into the markets. I think there's a big difference though when it comes to your life savings, your life's work, your family home. And I think when it comes to things like family home, your holidays, your retirement, education of your children, I think that is too much to put into your own hands. So I think when you deal with the financial advisor, not only do you have his or her experiences of doing this on a day-to-day basis, but often when you work for a multinational company or a company that has good resource around it, that information or those experiences are going to be passed through to you. So what is the right markets to invest in, to what percentages? And I think when you take good advice, you're much more likely to get where you're going than doing it yourself.
And Mike, what are the common DIY mistakes people actually make?
Okay, first and foremost, inexperienced people should not be playing with their family's money. Yeah. So over the years, we've seen lots of classic mistakes be made. The first thing is to break investment risks, okay, in terms of the profiling. So if they're a low risk investor or a balanced risk investor, then typically what we find is they overinvest into one asset class, typically that's doing very well. We've seen over the many decades where a particular housing market is exploding very quickly. Dublin would be a good example for you. And people get overcommitted because they get overconfident. And likewise, if you take the market 2 or 3 years ago, when the markets were very depressed, lots of people were saying that's not a good place to invest. I don't want to invest into the marketplace. It's too risky. So typically we find that people get out of sync in terms of their diversification. They get out of sync with regards to their risk profiling, and typically their emotion get into it. So typically when you work with a financial planner, that financial planner will have much more rules as to investing and making sure that your portfolio is set up to your appetite to risk and potential reward.
And what exactly should people be looking for in a financial advisor?
Okay, first and foremost, I think they should get on with their financial advisor. And I think people forget this. You spend a lot of time with your planners. Typically we say that clients would see their financial advisor at least 4 times a year. And over a 10, 15, 20-year relationship, that's an awful lot of meetings, okay, not to have full trust in somebody. So first and foremost, getting on with them, enjoying each other's company, okay, being able to trust each other implicitly with the decisions that each other makes. I mentioned earlier about being able to push boundaries with each other, to debate things if you don't always agree with each other. And then ultimately there are the more characteristic signs, so making sure that your advisor is qualified in the advice that he's giving you, making sure that he has the relevant experience for the type of advice that he's passing on to you. Looking at the firm, is the firm independent or is it tied to 1 or 2 types of products? Making sure that you've got some experience in terms of who do you know that they currently work with. If they don't, okay, can we get some sort of testimonials? And then I also think you need to sort of keep one eye on the future as well. Typically if you're in one location and you're taking financial advice, you need to think carefully at the beginning, what does your future hold for you? Is there, for example, a location that you might retire in? Do you work for the type of company that may move you on to a different jurisdiction at some location? Or do you think you'll stay here in this particular location? And I think all of those things need to be covered off, that if I'm moving to a particular jurisdiction in 3 or 4 or 5 years' time, does my financial planner have experience of those marketplaces? Does he know the products? Does he know the regulation? And if you can find a company or a financial advisor that has either experience or even better, an office in that particular location, that for me would be a higher degree of financial advice than just dealing with a local broker with no multi-jurisdictional experience.
And Mike, what exactly is more important, the firm or the advisor?
Okay, I'd have to say both. I think initially you fall for the financial advisor. There's a reason that you want to do business with them. There's a reason that you want them to take care of your business. But ultimately things change, and I think this is where you need to make sure that the firm is the right location, this is the right company. So for example, do they have the right backup? Do they have the right compliance? Okay, do they have the right infrastructure? Do they have a quality research department that can make sure they're choosing the right products and funds? And Ultimately, are they able to keep up with your changing circumstances? We mentioned earlier, if you get to move to another location, can that firm cope with that, either by looking after you remotely because they have a good concept of what that local regulations look like, or even better, do they have an office in that jurisdiction?
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Well, that is it, viewers, for right now, but do tune back to the website for more interesting interviews and press reviews. But for now, goodbye.